name's Terry Estep. I'm from Somerset, Kentucky. I'm a first-generation farmer. We raise Angus cattle. They're all purebred. We have half commercial cows, half registered cows. We calve half in the spring and half in the fall. Along with our beef cow operation, we do about 1,000 acres of hay production. We built two 40 by 96 hoop barns about 2 years ago, one for hay storage and one as a feeding barn. We felt like we needed it for better quality hay, which does make a tremendous difference in hay savings. We wanted the feeding barn because our farm in the wintertime is just a little bit wetter than some. We just sacrifice one field in the winter to keep both sets of cows. We keep them separate all the time. We feed twice a day through a tub grinder, grinding haylage and dry hay together. And they come in, they can come and go. We don't lock them up unless it's really nasty. And if it's really muddy, we'll lock them up, keep them in the barn and let them eat. They get fed twice a day on about a 60 pound per head per day average of haylage and dry hay mixed together. So we do feed our calves a little feed in the winter calves. The fall calves that are going through winter, they do get some feed along with being on mama at the same time. I just wasn't getting the satisfaction I wanted out of my calves or my cows of what I was on before. We just wasn't having the weight gains, and if you're in the beef business, you sell pounds. You don't just sell numbers. And we wanted to try something different. We was having trouble getting cows bred back, so we went to the breeder mineral that Purina has, and we feed a high mag breeder mineral year-round. It has helped getting our cows bred back already. We've seen tremendous difference in cows coming in heat. We went to the Purina Accuration high-fat tubs to take away buying ground feed to put in with the ground haylage and dry hay of feeding every day. That has worked tremendously well. Our body condition on our cows have held. Our calves are a lot heavier now than they would have been this time last year. Before we come to Purina, we was feeding the same scenario, but the company we was using, we was buying just a ground corn distiller's grain mix grain and mixing that at 5 pounds per cow per day as an add-in additive to their hay and haylage to keep body condition up. Some cows it would keep their body condition, some cows it would not, and it was a great expense. It was a lot of feed adding in. Then we tried the wet distiller's grain in with it. It worked fairly well, but it just didn't seem to have the packing a punch, so to speak, the bang for your buck, as what we've noticed out of the Purina high-fat tubs along with the Accuration creep feed on the calves. We've seen a lot better results coming that way than we did before, and we've just kept the same feeding pattern, just kind of changed the additives, so to speak. They're not getting no grain in the TMR mixer. The calves is the only thing getting grain. The cows are getting the high-fat tubs, plus the calves are getting the high-fat tubs. We see as many calves eating the high-fat tubs as we do the cows, and it turns them back to your forage, your good forage to use that's cheaper than what you can buy at the feed store. I was really blown away. I told, if you want to call Dr. Lee and ask him, I told him to his face when we was talking to it on the farm before we started buying the tubs and all that. I said, I'm going to put your stuff to the test. I will try it out. Cows with calves on them in the fall will show results quickly, because as those calves' needs come up, the cows' needs are also more or less doubling. They are going to show you if their body condition is going to hold on them or not. And I did put them to the test. I actually fed some rougher type hay that I had just for a test, and they held their own. They done exactly what Dr. Lee said they'd do. And it blowed me away, because I had in mind of a 50% carryover, I guess you would call it. I wasn't looking for 100% satisfaction. I really didn't think, because a lot of times when people tell you that, something don't go right. But I can stand here and tell you today and on, I'm 100% satisfied. It's done exactly everything they said it would do. And the money savings was, for me, was close to $4,000 difference of buying feed all winter long, mixing it for my cows, than it was going to these tubs and all this. And you'll find mixing feed in your tub grinder and feeding it, you're going to have more laying in the bunk when the cows leave the barn, or fence line bunks, ever how you might feed, because they're going to eat all the grain out of it, and they're going to get some of that roughage, but there'll be more roughage laying in your trough than there will be when that's all that's in the trough with no sweetness in it to go after. Everything that I've ever needed has been spot on. I cannot ask for a better rep from Micah Thomas, from Bobby Markham, from Dr. Lee, anybody at the Somerset store. I can't ask for better. I make a phone call that I need something, it's either here that day or the next. And I always try to call ahead of time because I know I ain't the only farmer in the world. But I can't ask for better people to work with. If I need something, I pick up the phone and they answer, and it's taken care of. When we changed to the breeder mineral, the high mag breeder mineral from Purina, they got on the intake because I think the cows was lacking from what they'd been on before. Once they got their bodies built up to what they needed, then they backed off to the normal consumption at 4 ounces a day, just like they are to be. Then we started on the high fat tubs, and I got concerned because they just backed off of mineral, but they still eat on minerals, just you're not going to see that 4 ounces a day through that mineral feeder as you would without that tub, because you're getting a two-edged sword, I call it, is they're getting high fat protein out of the tub, plus they're getting minerals, and if they need a little extra, they'll go to the mineral feeder and get it. I still keep it free choice at all times. If I'm going to spend my money, I want to see results in some way to know what to do, because you've always got to watch, number one, your checkbook, but number two, you got to watch the quality of cattle that you got, because it will affect your checkbook in the end. We started on the Accuration creep feed. Before, what we would do is we was taking the same ground feed that we put in our TMR mixer and fed cows, and we was just pouring 4 or 5 5-gallon buckets a day in the creep feeder, which was getting the calves used to going in and eating. They're getting used to feed. We only done that, it was to help them, but it was also to help at weaning time. We didn't have near as much trouble weaning calves. They would just go right onto the bunk, keep eating, because they knew what it was, and they wanted it. We went to the Accuration. I've never been one to fill a creep feeder full. I always thought it was a waste of money. But I'll tell you now, it's not a waste of money. Using the Accuration LW, it's worth its weight in gold. They consume so much less feed to gain the same amount of weights. I've got calves where we've not weighed the whole group. We've just weighed a couple that have showed tremendous difference. As in 700-pound calves that was born in September. Is the whole group of calves that heavy? They're not, because of calving intervals. The Accuration creep feed has, the calves eat on it. They call it snack eating, and it's true. They walk in the creep feeder. I've sat here myself and wrote down tag numbers. They'll stay in that creep feeder 4 to 8 minutes, walk out and either go get a drink for mama, go eat some hay, be gone 30 minutes, and they'll come back and be in there another 4 to 8 minutes. They're not standing there on a normal feed and just eat until they're so full they go lay down somewhere. They're eating it to where their body can use it instead of passing it on through. You can walk around the field, you don't see none of that feed still in their manure piles like you would with something else. It's been a game changer. It's been a real game changer for us. I can tell a huge difference in my calves across the board, and we're talking cows that had the same bulls as last year. I mean, same genetics across the board, and I'm going to step out to say at least on the bottom end 100-pound heavier at the same time of year as it was last year. And there's going to be a lot of calves that's going to be way over that, but as an average across the board, I would call it 100 to 150-pound difference of weight at the same time of year, and we calve at the same time every year.
Look at the head on that. I'm getting photo proof right now.